Hello, good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry that I am coming in late. I've been battling with network issues in the last 12 hours. Just got things sorted out. So sorry for keeping you guys waiting. Please kindly confirm you can hear me clearly and you can see my screen so that we can kickstart the session. We are already behind schedule. I'm trying to see through my chats. Yes, Ashitaka, I'm so late today. We have been battling with network issues in the last 24 hours. Just got myself connected after sorting out issues with my service provider. But I'm glad we are back on. So I want to assume you can see my screen and you can hear my voice. And let's just kickstart the session right away. And so I want to welcome you all to yet another um, promising session of Extreme Speed Live. Okay, thank you, Carrie, for that confirmation. And I will be taking you on a trading journey as usual, as we shall be diving through the charts and see what is going on in the market. We are going to be evaluating the market structures and using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us during the New York session today. And most importantly, it's pertinent I mentioned that today is a Friday, and definitely because of the nature of the day being the last trading day of the week, we need to be very cautious, and it's not necessary that we jump into any unnecessary trade at this point in time. We want to see what is happening at the market, and if we actually have an opportunity to take advantage of, then we will be taking advantage of this opportunity. So let's dive into the chart. The first pair we'll be deliberating on today is the US oil. And on the US oil, we have a scenario that we were expecting to happen, and it appears price action is moving in that direction. So, if you remember during the course of yesterday's live session, I told you how we were able to identify a reversal pattern within this area in the form of a double bottom structure, and then we saw a consolidation phase that took us out of that structure, giving us a signal that there is a possibility that a bullish momentum is coming in at this point. And if you know from a technical perspective, whenever we see a breakout of structure, we expect price to do a retest of structure. So what we are going to be looking forward to today is a retest of structure, which is already evolving in that direction at this point in time. So what we were waiting for is to look out for confirmation to join the rally. So it's either we see a retest of this trend line we identified here during the live session yesterday, or the possibility of price coming back into the $88 level. But one most important thing that we want to be looking for at this point is a reversal pattern on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the upside. So this is what we are going to be looking forward for today. So price is already moving in that direction. However, for those who actually took this move from this point yesterday without waiting for that confirmation, it's okay, and you would have locked in some profit as expected. But one thing I want to be saying here is that this is the right time to be thinking of taking advantage of this bullish momentum. So let's see how price is going to relate with either the trend line here or the $88 level, after which we are going to be looking for patterns that supports a trend continuation on the lower time frame. And one thing I would like to state here is that if price continue to the upside as expected, one thing we want to be doing is to lock in our profit as soon as price tests this bearish trend line here. That is this bearish trend line here. Remember, we were able to identify this bearish trend line that has been respected by price since mid-July. And one thing we want to be doing is to lock in our profit or move our stop loss to break even at this point in time, as we want to see how price is going to relate with this level. Are we going to be having are we going to be having a reversal pattern right below this level? We never can tell. Or is there going to be a breakout retest of structure, after which, if we see a retest of structure, it's an opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So this is what we want to be looking forward to during the New York session today. And if that does not happen, please you don't need to just pass the trade for today, and we shall be coming back next week to look out for better opportunities on the US oil. So if there are any questions whatsoever regarding what I have just explained so far, please feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section to inquire further into what you really don't understand at this point in time. So I'll be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to look through the chat to see if there are any questions whatsoever regarding what we just discussed so far. So, okay, 603, good morning. Hey, Scott Benji, how are you? I haven't seen you this week so far. Hope you're okay. All right. Thank you, Ashitaka. Okay, so in the absence of no questions, I'll move on to the next pair. And what are we going to be looking at? The US tech. So let's see what is happening on the US tech. So on the US tech, price has been going to the downside as expected. And one thing I want to be doing first of all is to share with you our perspective that led into the bearish momentum that we were taking advantage of yesterday. So let's scale up to the higher time frame, and on the higher time frame here, that is the 4 hours time frame. Remember, I shared with you a scenario where we were looking at a reversal pattern around the supply zone here. We actually took advantage of this move during the first couple of days of this week. We took over 400 pips. I think we had 2 positions running at this point. And one thing we saw is this, that as soon as price tested the $13,750 area around this point, we saw multiple rejection of that level, giving us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this point in time. And if we scale a little bit down into the 1 hour time frame here on the US tech, we observed that price action has been price action formed something that looks like a reversal pattern around this point. We saw the first retest of structure, price came back again the second time, and boom, we saw price breaking down the neckline of the reversal pattern here, giving us a signal that a bearish momentum is evolving at that point in time. So now let's go back to the 4 hours time frame. And what do we have here on the 4 hours time frame? Very beautiful breakdown of structure. We saw a breakdown of the neckline at the $13,550 level. Price came back to do the retest of that key level, giving us further confirmation that we are going bearish on this one. So we took advantage of this move a couple of days ago, and price has been moving in that direction. And one thing we were able to do yesterday, I told you how we want to move our stop loss to break even at this point, as in yesterday, right above the neckline at the $13,550 level. And we were able to identify another parameter that should be guiding our action, which came in the form of the bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower highs. And you can see what has been happening in the last 24 hours. We can see if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, we see things very, very clearly. At this point, we can see our price has respected that bearish trend line. We saw price come back into this point during the New York session yesterday, and we saw multiple rejection of this level before the bearish continuation move to the downside. So right now we have broken down a key significant level at the 10,400 level. So the first thing I'll be saying this morning is that we move our stop loss to lock in some profit, or either you can either move your stop loss to lock in some profit at this point, or move your stop loss to break even. So I will be advising that somewhere around the 13,460 level area, right above the $13,460 level area, is most appropriate to lock in your profit, at least if you are not moving your stop loss to break. And the reason why that is, if we look left, we can see we have a structure around that area, and it is right above that bearish trend line, because we don't want to see price running right above the bearish trend line. Remember, the bearish trend line and the bearish trend line at this point is our yardstick, as we want to continue to see price rallying right below that bearish trend line. Then our take profit target still remain the same. We still have our take profit target right on this bullish trend line. Remember, we have a bullish trend line after connecting the series of higher lows. Let's scroll up to the 4 hours time frame so that we can see what we are talking about here. So you can see on the 4 hours time frame, since mid-July of this year, we were able to connect the series of higher lows. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. We saw the first low here, and then somewhere around here, then we saw this one, and somewhere around here as well. And right now price is close to this bullish trend line. So that is where our take profit target, the initial take profit target, is going to be. And one thing I'll be saying here is that you want to extend your take profit target at this point to somewhere around the 13,200 level, since we already close to that level. So we move our stop loss to somewhere around 13,200 level at this point, and let's see how price action relates with this bullish trend line. So if we see a breakdown of this bullish trend line, then a retest of structure should give us further confirmation to add more position to our existing trade. Let me show you what I'm talking. Let's zoom into that structure so you can see what I'm talking about. We already see a breakdown of this level, so this candle is yet to close. Let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame. Let's see how that candle is playing out. Okay, so we already have a breakdown of that level at 13,400 level. So one thing we want to see is a further significant breakdown of that level, moving our stop loss to around the $13,200 mark. And let's see if we're going to have a further breakdown of this bullish trend line. Then if we have a breakdown, we wait for price to do a retest of the zone around the 13,400 level. And if you look at the bearish trend line here, if we extend it a little further into the future, we can see that that level also shares a confluence with that bearish trend line. So the bearish trend line is still going to be our yardstick as we head into the New York session today. So if we continue to see multiple rejection of that level to the downside, then we're still going to be comfortable with the selling position we have here on the US tech. So let's see how price action plays out during the New York session on this one. And if you have any question whatsoever, regarding what I have just discussed so far, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section and let's see how it's going to go. So this is what we have here on the US tech. So let's see what next we are going to be taking here today. So the next pair we are going to be looking at is the AUDUSD. And remember, on the AUDUSD, we had a very beautiful scenario on the AUDUSD, as since on the, hold on a second, since on Monday we've been enjoying a very strong bearish momentum as we were able to take over 170 pips. We took the move right below the key level here at the 0.70950, and we took our take profit target at around the 0.69250 area with around 70 pips at this point. So right now price action is right below the bullish trend line we identified here. So let's scale up to the 4 hours time frame. So on the 4 hours time frame, we were able to identify this bullish trend line, and we were thinking that we are going to see a reversal pattern within this area, which appeared to happen. But unfortunately, we saw the breakout of structure. We were waiting for the retest of structure to happen, but price continued to find lower lows and lower highs at this point. So right now, how do we intend taking advantage of the move? So the one thing I want to do here is delete this one, as this is no longer relevant. And is this bearish momentum going to continue to the downside? That is one thing we are going to be looking at today. So the first thing we observed here on the 4 hours time frame is that we saw this breakdown of this bullish trend line. Price came back to do a retest of the structure with confirmation of a bearish momentum to the downside. So the way things are looking right now, it appears the dollar is very, very strong, and from a technical perspective, we would have to wait for for price to come back into our structures. Now if we go to the daily time frame here, we observe the strong bearish momentum that gripped the market since April of this year, and we noticed how price broke out of that bearish trend line during the early days of this month. We saw the breakout retest of the bearish trend line, giving us a clue of a bullish momentum. And from a technical perspective, when we see a breakout of structure like this, it's likely that price will come into this bearish trend line here with reversal patterns on lower time frame to support a trend continuation to the upside. So right now, if a bullish momentum, taking a buy position right now is still very, very dicey. So we want to be patient enough to wait to see how price action will continue to relate with this level here. And if we look into the past here, we can see that we have a demand niche at around the 0.68700 area. If we look left, we can see how price respected this area in May, and sometime in June too we saw that respect by the buyers at this point. So one thing we want to be looking forward to right now is for price to come back into our structure, after which we are going to be looking for possibilities of joining that trend continuation to the upside. So let me extend this out a little bit. So price is right now close to that level, with about how many pips close to that level at this point? So we have about 60 pips close to that level. So let's see how price action is going to relate with this level. Now another thing, if we are going to be looking at this from another technical perspective here, we should see this as an impulsive move to the upside. That is this move that led into the breakout of that structure. So that's an impulse leg. So if we're going to be seeing this move right now, we're going to be seeing this move as a retracement phase of that previous impulse leg. And what we want to be looking forward to is price doing a reversal pattern within our golden zone area. So what we are going to be looking forward to right now is to see if this retracement move is going to culminate within the golden zone area, which is around the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg. So if we identify that level between the 50 and the 78.6, we have somewhere which we have a zone which shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we were able to identify, and this is what we have here. So right now we have this area as our new buy zone. So we have this area right around our new buy zone here. So let's label it for the sake of clarity. So we have a new buy zone at this point. So one thing we're going to be looking forward to around this area is one, right now price is right on that buy zone, that is around the 50% retracement area. So let's see how price is going to relate with this level. Are we going to be having sharp rejection during the New York session today, or is price going to go further, plunge further into the buy zone, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line? Remember, we had the breakout of this bearish trend line during the early days of this month. Then price is likely going to come back to do a retest of this bearish trend line, after which we are going to be looking forward to reversal patterns within this area. It could be your double bottom structure, it could be your inverse head and shoulder pattern, or it could be even your falling wedge. Whatever pattern it is that supports a trend continuation on lower time frame, we want to join the rally to the upside. So on a long-term perspective, we really have a long way to go if we see this reversal pattern within this buy zone. If we bring out our Fibonacci extension tool to look at a long-term perspective take profit target, we will be aiming at between the 1414 and the 127 area, which will be dovetailing to about the 450 pips to catch here, as price action will be monitored. So let's see what happens during the New York session today. So I want us to remain patient. Remember, we are already profitable on the AUDUSD, and we don't want to lose, we don't want to let go of whatever we've earned so far for this week. So let's see how price action is going to relate with this level. So we want to remain patient and watch what is going to be happening around this zone at this point. However, if for those who are still in this trade, well, at this point, I will say kudos to you. So just lock in your profit, move your stop loss to around the 0.69500 area, and continue to monitor this move. Now, for those who are going to be thinking of taking advantage of a short-term trading opportunity here, let's see what's happening on the lower time frame. Well, on the lower time frame, on the 15 minutes time frame here, what thing you will observe here is that we have a very strong demand zone around the 0.6900 area. We can see what happened here during the early hours of today. We can see how price has been rejecting this area multiple times, giving us a clue of buying strength around this area. So for me, what I'll be saying is just let's hold on and let's see how price action is going to relate with this level at this point. So it's already Friday, and we don't want to jump into a trend that we cannot finish today. So let's see what happens from this point, and if price action plays out as expected, that is, we see a reversal pattern within this area, then a breakout of structure on lower time frame should give us further confirmation to join the rally. So now moving on, we're going to move on to the USD JPY. Now on the USD JPY, we were actually looking for a bearish momentum on the USD JPY, but unfortunately price did not move as expected, as we continue to find higher highs and higher lows, giving us a clue of how strong the buyers are at this point. So, and I told you something during the course of yesterday's trading session, is that if we do see a breakout of this bearish trend line, that is, we see price break out of this bearish trend line and we see a retest of either the key level or the bearish trend line, we take advantage of this bullish momentum. And what do we see here? We see the retest. We see a couple of retests here. Price retested the $134.800 level, 800 Japanese yen level, and price has continued to the upside from this point. So if you are taking advantage of this move, kudos to you for identifying this opportunity, as right now you will be with about 200 pips in profit at this point in time. And so what do we want to be doing here as we head into the New York session? So the first thing we want to be doing is to be locking our profits. Whosoever is taking advantage of this move, kindly move your stop loss to right above the supply zone here at the 135.730 level to lock in some profit, and let's continue the trend to the upside. If we go a little further to the upside, that's to the higher time frame, let's see what is happening here. On the higher time frame, we can see we are on a very long-term bullish momentum on the USDJPY. And one thing we saw that is interesting during the later part of the month of July was a significant breakdown of that bullish trend line, which gives us a clue into a possible momentum shift. And from a technical perspective, whenever we see a breakdown of structure, what do we expect? We expect price action to go back, do a retest of structure to give us further confirmation of a decline. So we are looking at somewhere around the $140 as our take profit target at this point in time, between the 139.300 and the 141 Japanese yen area, after which we are going to look forward to see how price is going to relate with this level. Are we going to have an outright retest that will send price crashing, or is there going to be breakout of this level, retest to send price going to the upside on this one? So for me on this one, the take profit targets remain around the 140 142 Japanese yen area, and let's see what happens going forward. So if you have any questions so far regarding what I've just discussed, please feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section, and let's look at it together. So I'll be taking the next 10-15 seconds to read through the chat and see if there are any questions whatsoever. Okay, 359, good morning to you. How are you doing this morning? Okay, 959, hello, good morning. Okay, so on the XAUUSD, let's ride the trend up into the 140 Japanese yen here on the USDJPY. So around here remains our take profit target zone, that is between here and this point. So let's see what happens during the New York session today, and I'm thinking this move is going to continue significantly well towards that direction. So moving on to the XAUUSD. On the XAUUSD, we were also selling the XAUUSD this week. We've been enjoying that bearish momentum since the beginning of the week. Let me share with you what we were looking at on this one. So on the XAUUSD, let's zoom this in. Okay, fine. So right now, we had this. Let's scale up to the 4 hours to the hour time frame. So let's see what we were seeing that led us into this bearish momentum. So what we observed here on the gold was that since the later part of the month of July, price has continued to find higher highs and higher lows, hereby caught up within an ascending channel that we were able to identify after connecting the series of higher highs and higher lows. So we had this this ascending channel, but one interesting thing that we saw during the last week trading session, though we took some profit here, we took the buy move from this demand zone at the $1,787 level. So we saw this reversal pattern, we saw the sharp rejection here, and we saw that, okay, fine, if price is the momentum of the buyers appears to be reducing at this point. Let me zoom in into the structure so that we can see what I'm talking about here. So we saw the sharp rejection of this level. We saw a very strong, very sharp rejection, like a shooting star, giving us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this point. Then we saw another rejection here. Then we saw this final breakdown of the structure of the demand zone here, which gave us that signal, that significant signal that we are looking forward to. And what I said was that we look forward to a retest of this $1,785 level to take advantage of that bearish move, and lo and behold, that happened, and we were able to identify this bearish trend line, the red line on your screen, as a yardstick to continue to sell the XAUUSD. So I said if we continue to see further rejection of this bearish trend line, we continue to add more position to this trade. And what did we see here? We saw the breakdown, we saw the first, then we saw the retest, then price continued to the downside, and then we saw another retest here, added one more position to this trade, and price came back into the demand zone, which was identified yesterday. And I told you yesterday that we should move our stop loss to somewhere right above the $1,775 level to lock in some profit, and price has continued to the downside from that point. So we saw the breakdown of this demand niche here, the demand niche that we saw around this point yesterday. We saw a breakdown, retest of that level, adding more position to this trade. Let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame to see what is happening. So on the 1 hour time frame, if we zoom into this current structure, we can see how the demand zone was broken during the New York session yesterday. We had a retest of that structure, and price continued to the downside from there. So since the beginning of the week, we've been enjoying this move to the downside, and currently we'll be running with about, let's see how many pips that is. It's close to 3,400 pips right now on the XAUUSD, and that is significantly massive. And well, at this point in time, what we're going to be doing here is to just move our stop loss to lock in some more profit here. So what I'll be suggesting that is we move our stop loss to the previous structure here. So we have a structure around here. You can see this area has been a demand zone, then it got resisted a couple of times here during the early hours of today to give us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this point. So right above the $1,756 level appears to be a very, very good place to place our stop loss. So right above this level here is a very good place to place our stop loss at this point, and that is going to be about how many pips. Let's see how many pips that is. From here to here is about 2,700 pips. I think that is okay, and let's see if price will continue to the downside on this one. So if we have placed our stop loss right above that level, now move your take profit target to somewhere around this area, that is around the $1,740 level. We want to continue to ride this momentum to at least wherever it wants to take us to. So move your take profit target to around $1,740 area, that is between, it could be somewhere around here. And the reason why we have identified this area, let's scale down, let's scale up to the higher time frame so that I can share with you a structure that we are looking at. So if we look at what's happening here on the daily, on the 4 hours time frame, we can see that we have a structure around here. That is the reversal pattern that took price out of this level into the upside. So we saw the breakout of the $1,740 level that pushed price to the upside. Then, well, from a technical perspective, we always expect that when price breaks out of a structure, we expect price to come back and do a retest of that level. So we are looking at this area as our take profit target at this point in time, after which we want to see how price is going to relate with this level. Are we going to be having a trend continuation from that point? So let's see what happens during the next couple of weeks on this one. So for now, move your stop loss to $1,740 level, and let's see how that goes during the New York session today. If you have any question, please feel free. Okay, Ashitaka is asking for bottom for gold. Well, I just explained that. I guess I shared with you here on the 4 hours time frame. I don't know what you mean. Are you meaning, do you mean the take profit target for gold? If that is what you mean, then I just explained that a couple of seconds ago, where I said we had a neckline of the reversal pattern here. We had the reversal pattern that took price out of the structure sometime in the later part of the month of July. We saw this breakout of the structure. That is, let me show you what I'm talking about. Here we saw the breakout of the structure here, and from a technical perspective we expect that price will come back to do a retest of this level. So if price is going to come back to do a retest of this level, let's see what is going to happen. If is price going to respect this area, in the sense that we could be having a reversal pattern that will push price to the upside, or are we going to be having a breakdown of this level where a retest should give us further confirmation to sell the gold? But till then, right now, just move our stop loss to somewhere around here between the $1,740 level, within that zone anyway. Okay, now you got it. Most of your messages are blocked. Well, I'm not sure why that is. It must be a technical issues anyway. It can't be intentional. So I think we're on the same page, Ashitaka. So $1,740 area appears to be the most appropriate price we want to be looking for our take profit target on the gold. So we really don't want to be too over ambitious on this one. So let's just place it there, and whatever happens afterwards, we call it a day, and we look forward to looking at this pair again next week to see what advantage is lining up for us again. So that is that on the XAUUSD. Are there any question? Let's see if there are any. Oh, I see. Improper words. Okay. All right, it's okay. Ramona 85, hello, how are you doing today? Good morning. I want to take some time to see if we have any questions so far on what we have discussed so far. We talked about the US oil, the US tech, AUDUSD, the USDJPY, and right now we're on the gold. Is there any questions so that we can move on? So in the absence of no questions, let's move on to, let's take one more random pair for today, and what I want to be looking at is the GBP USD, which is a trade app already. Oh, it's already gone too far. I already taken my profit here on the GBP USD. Let's see if we can have. I've also taken my profit here on the EURUSD as well, and it's quite far away from. So let's look at EURUSD. I've been profitable on this EURUSD since the beginning of the week. I took this trade here. This was my trade on the 15th of August. I took about 92 pips profit here. Price came back into this place, and I took the second one at the 97 pips yesterday. And right now we have a breakdown of this bearish trend line. So what I want to be doing here is to scale up a little to the daily time frame so that we can see what is actually happening at this point in time, and let's see if we could take advantage of another trading opportunity today. Now, obviously, on the daily time frame, it is very obvious that price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum on the gold since the beginning of the year, actually, and price has been respecting this bearish trend line. You can see we were able to connect that the series of lower highs at this point to identify this resultant bearish trend line, and price came back to do a retest of this bearish trend line on the 11th of August, after which we saw engulfing candles taking us right out of the structure in the direction of the prior leading price action. So right now, after taking a couple of profits on this one, what structure do we have here on the daily time frame? Well, if we look closely into this current structure here, let's bring out our line chart here. We can see how this level has been around the 1.01200 area, has been a significant level. We can see the 1.0650, I think it's the 1.0650, has been a significant level in the past. Now, if we look at the candle chart here, we can see how we had rejection of this level. We saw sharp rejection of this level. So one thing I want to be doing here is to hold on. So what I want to be doing here is to connect the sharp rejections together. And if we are going to be doing that, let's bring a line around this point. Let's connect these levels together. So we have something like this, and that is around where is that? The 1.01300. That's going to be my level for the New York session today. So let's see what happens here. So we have a level around this point. So let's see if we are going to see price come back to do a retest of this level during the New York session. It could be a sharp rejection of this level to send price going to the downside here. That is the first scenario. That's the first parameter we just identified here. So let's scale down to the 2 hours time frame, I guess, 2 hours time frame. And on the 2 hours time frame, since the beginning of the month, I was able to connect this levels, these points together, this lower heights, to identify a bearish trend line. And we saw this breakout of this trend line, which we took advantage of last week. If you remember very well, we took advantage of this bullish momentum last week, the breakout retest of this level, and price went as far as this. And right now, what did we see? We saw a sharp rejection, then price came back, then we saw the breakdown of that bearish trend line. So what I want to be looking forward to is this during the New York session today. Let's see if we are going to see price come back to either the bearish trend line here or this key level at the 1.01300 area. Then we look to take advantage of a sell of a trend continuation to the downside on the EURUSD. So this is what I'm going to be looking forward to on this one. And if that happens, where will our take profit target be? Well, we already have this impulsive move to the downside here. We have this impulse leg, which we are not sure when it's going to end. So let's see how this impulse leg is going to end. And if it finally ends, you might be asking me, how do you know if an impulse leg has ended? Well, the only way you can know that the impulse leg has ended is when you start seeing a reversal pattern. It could be your double top structure, your double bottom structure at this point. It could be your inverse head and shoulder. So once you start seeing a reversal pattern, a breakout of structure, you know the impulse leg has ended. And if the impulse leg has ended, what you do is bring out your Fibonacci extension tool, run it through that impulse leg wherever it is, and then you aim at the 127.2 and the 1414 area and use that area as your take profit target for the EURUSD for today. So I just used this as an example. Remember, this impulse leg is here to end, so I'm just citing, giving you an explanation of how it's going to look like when the impulse leg ends. So when it ends, you run your Fibonacci extension tool through that impulse leg and you aim at between the 127.2 and the 1414 area as your take profit target. So it's likely that price will still go as far as the $1.00 for the week. So let's see what happens during the New York session on this one. So I think at this point we call it a day. We've taken about 1 2 3 4 5 6 pairs already, and let's do a recap of what we've talked about so far, and after which we call it a day. Or is there any question in the house on this one? Oh, okay. All right, so let's quickly look at what we did so far today. Let's do a recap of what we did so far today. So the first pair we looked at is the US oil, and on the US oil, price has been moving as expected. Remember, I shared with you yesterday that we are looking for a breakout retest of that structure. We saw this reversal pattern here yesterday, and we said a breakout retest of the structure should give us a confirmation to join the rally. So we saw the breakout. Price has come back into this area. So right now we are right on that trend line. So we don't know how this is going to play out. But we have two parameters here. We have the trend line. We have the level at the $88 area as a possible zone to look out for reversal patterns on lower time frame. So what we are going to be looking forward to is a reversal pattern. It could be your double bottom structure, and then we join the rally to the upside. And if that happens, where will our take profit target be? At around the $93 area has been an area we identified in the past as one place we want to be looking forward to our take profit target. And remember, there is a caveat to this trade. I told you that as soon as price gets into this bearish trend line, we want to either lock in some profits or move our stop loss to break even so that we can see how price is going to relate with that level. If we now further see a breakout of that trend line, then a retest of that level should give us further confirmation to to add more position to our existing trade in the upside direction. This is a trend line we noticed since the month of July that has been respected in the past. So we want to see how price is going to relate with that level. That is why I said we should move our stop loss at that point. So that is that on the US oil. Then we went on to do something on the US tech, where we are still enjoying that bearish momentum that we took since a couple of days ago. Price has continued to respect our parameters. We have this bearish trend line here. Price has continued to respect that bearish trend line to give us further comfort in our selling position on this one. Now we had a further breakdown of this level at the $13,400 level, which is also a very significant level at this point. So if we have a retest of this level or this bearish trend line at any point, we want to be adding more position at the site of a reversal pattern on this one. Now I told you that on the US tech, we want to be moving our our take profit target to 13,200 at this point. As we can see, this breakdown is giving us a further comfort that this bearish momentum is strong. However, I also mentioned that to protect our position, our profitable position at this point, we want to be moving our stop loss to somewhere right above the $13,400 level to protect our position against any sudden pull-ups that might be happening at this point in time. So the bearish trend line here continues to guide our actions going forward as we aim at a long-term take profit target at around the $13,000 mark. So let's see how price plays out on this one, and please don't be too greedy on this one. So let's move on to the next one. We talked about the AUDUSD, where we are still expecting a possible bullish momentum to happen. Remember, we took this move right from this point this week. We took this move right from the 0.70950 area right into the 0.69250 with about 170 pips here. And the next thing we did was to identify a possible buy zone, which we identified here after looking at this impulsive move. We saw this impulsive move that led to the breakout of that bearish trend line. So we saw this impulsive move, and one thing we did is to identify a golden zone. After this impulse leg, we expect a retracement phase into our golden zone area, after which we are going to be looking for reversal patterns that supports a trend continuation to the upside. So what we are saying here is that we want to remain patient here to see how far this selling momentum is going to go. And if we look left, we can see we have a structure right around the 0.68500 area, which has been a buying niche for participants in this market. If we look left, we can see this area has been a buying niche in the past. We see multiple rejection by buyers from this point, and it's likely that we might be having a rejection at the same zone during the New York session today. So let's see what happens. But one thing that we want to be looking forward to is either a sharp rejection of this level, or a reversal pattern within this area. It could be your inverse head and shoulder, your double bottom structure, whatever reversal pattern is on your lower time frame. Breakout retest of structure give us a further confirmation to join the rally to the upside on the AUDUSD. Then we went on to, now let me show you one more thing here on the AUDUSD, which I think I didn't mention. Is that, okay, I think I mentioned it. We already have the breakdown of this trend line, so let's delete it. It's no longer relevant anymore. So we are waiting for price to do a retest of the structure. Remember, we had the breakout of that bearish trend line. Then we expect price to come back into that level with a possible rejection of that level to push price to the upside here. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, and I will come back next week to take a look at this pair again. So now we moved on to the USDJPY, where a bullish momentum was identified on the USDJPY. And right now, hold on a second, let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame, where I will explain to you that I was expecting a bearish momentum here on the USDJPY, and I told you that if this bearish trend line, the red dotted line here, does not produce a reversal pattern here, then a breakout of that level should give us a signal that we are going bullish. Then we saw a breakout, and I told you a retest to either the bearish trend line or the key level should give us further confirmation to join the rally. And what did we see? We saw multiple rejection in the last 24 hours to give us that confirmation that we are going bullish. So right now we're running with about how many pips in profit? With over 200 pips in profit at this point. And then one thing I said here is that you lock in your profit or move your stop loss to break even to protect your position against any sudden pull down. And I was able to identify our new take profit target, which is falling right around the 140 and 142 area. And the reason why that is simply because, remember, we identify a strong bullish trend line on the higher time frame, actually on the daily time frame, where we saw a breakdown during the later part of the month of July. We saw a breakdown of that structure, and from a technical perspective, we expect price to come back and do a retest of that bullish trend line. So we are looking forward to this area as our take profit target, where we want to see how price is going to relate with that level. If we are going to be having a reversal pattern that will send price going to the downside, or we are going to be having a breakout of that level to push price to the upside. So we never can tell yet, but that is what we are going to be looking forward to at this point. So that is that on the USDJPY. And then we went on to talk about the XAUUSD, where we are also enjoying a very strong bearish momentum on the XAUUSD. Since the beginning of the week, we've been enjoying a move right below the $1,785 level, which has dovetailed to how many pips right now? Over 3,000 pips here on the XAUUSD. And one thing I said here is that we should move our stop loss right now to somewhere around the above the $1,756 level to lock in some profits and protect our position against any sudden pull up on this one. So I told you to adjust your take profit target to around the $1,740 level. That is the neckline here. I will show you how we got a neckline on the higher time frame. So on the higher time frame, we had a structure here, which was our reversal pattern. We saw the breakout of that structure during the later part of the month of July, and then we're expecting price to come back into this level, probably to do a retest of that level to push price to the upside, or we could be having a breakdown of that level. But one thing we want to be doing, we don't want to be too over ambitious, so let's just place our stop loss, our take profit target rather, right around this area. It could be your 1,745, but around this area is most appropriate to put our take profit target for the XAUUSD. So that is that on the XAUUSD. Then we went on to close the day with a random pair which is the EURUSD, where we said let's see if we are going to be having further confirmations to join this decline. So that is, we said okay fine, we're able to identify this key level at the 1.0300 level, where I said if we at any point see price come back to this level or this bearish trend line here with reversal patterns on lower time frame, we might want to be joining the decline to the downside. So the EURUSD, the dollar has been very strong, especially this week, and it seems things are going really very well for the dollar. Let's see how that is going to, let's see how these pairs are going to close this week, and next week we shall be coming here to gauge the market structure and see what opportunities we have against the new week. Once again, I want to say I'm so sorry for coming in late today. I was since the last 24 hours I've been trying to make sure that I get in touch with my service provider to sort out my network issues, but unfortunately I couldn't get that done until a couple of hours, a couple of hours ago, and that caused my late entry. So please pardon me for that, and let's come again same time next week, Monday morning, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time, and let's be here to see to evaluate the market one more time. Okay, 201 is asking for my YouTube channel. Yes, Sheriff Daramola is my YouTube channel. I will spell it on the screen right now. Sheriff Daramola, that is my YouTube channel. You can look me. So that's my channel. So on this note, I want to wish you all a very beautiful weekend. Best of luck during the New York session, and always remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for price action to come back into our breakout structure to give us further confirmation to join the rally. And if that does not happen, please pass the trade and let it go. There are tons of opportunities in the financial market that we can actually take advantage of. So if we have missed one, it's okay. There are quite a lot of opportunities to take advantage of in the financial market. So on this note, I want to wish you best of luck and do have a wonderful day. Bye bye, and have a wonderful weekend. Cheers.